Hi, it's Dr. Taz, and welcome to this Facebook Live session. Today, I want to talk a little more about the bounce back. The bounce back is my latest book, and in the bounce back, I talk about how I let life just sort of roll over me. And for 4 months, I was in excruciating pain and just trying to figure out what was going on. And so during that time period, during that time period, I began to take notes and try to chronicle what was happening with me. And as a result of that, I wrote The Bounce Back, Transformation, the Bounce Back. One of the sections in the book talks about the SOAR model. And the SOAR model is what I look at as the next evolution of SWOTs. SWOTs are strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Where SOAR, SOAR, is an acronym that stands for strengths, opportunity, aspirations, and results. And understanding that it's not just an acronym. For me, it's a roadmap to understanding what's most important to me and shaping my future. So I talk about it in the book, and I want to give you more information about it because I think that it could help you also. It's not just something that you would utilize if you're trying to bounce back from something. It's an excellent tool to help you just brainstorm as well as develop action plans for any aspect of your life. So we're going to delve into our strengths. That's where we're going to start with strengths. That's the first letter, so S. Well, what I want you to do is first, I want you to reflect on what comes natural to you. Now, we each have those innate skills, things that just, you don't know why, but it just comes natural. I'm reminded of my sister when she was a little girl. She has always been technically savvy. Hi, Manswell. Thanks for joining me. She's always been technically savvy. And so I can remember her being like 7 or 8, and my parents were having some sort of problem with their computer. So my sister gets on the phone and she calls the 800 number and she fixes their computer. Well, fast forward, she goes on to college and she does major in computer science and mathematics. So the technology, it just comes to her, just comes easy to her, even now as she works with various software and, setting up different hardware. It's just something that comes natural to her. So the first thing we have to do is reflect on what our natural abilities are. And what I want you to do is become mindful of what you're doing, because when it's natural, we don't think about it. We just do it. But those natural skills and talents are innate, and those are things that become the building blocks to our success. So we have to pay attention to them. Next, I want you to recall your proudest moment. We all have something that we're very, very proud of. So I want you to think about that. You may have to take a sheet of paper now, guys, and make some notes. But what are you most proud of? And when you think about that thing, how did it make you feel? Because, we have good days and we have not so good days. And then we have days where things are just wonderful. But are we in touch with that feeling? Well, here, I want you to be in touch with how it made you feel, because when you're able to actually touch it and feel it and the emotions are involved, those things help you towards your path of victory, because you know what victory is, because you know how victory makes you feel. And again, that is evidence of your capabilities, because again, you have the skill set. It's up to you to realize that you've got it. The third thing that I want you to do is identify what factors contributed to your proudest moment. Now, this is my proudest moment, but what factors contributed to it? Did it just happen overnight? What was your role in it? Because when we recognize those moments, it then unveils to us what truly matters to us. So let me say that a different way. You've identified the proudest moment of your life, okay? So that means it means something to you here. Well, once you've identified that, why was it the proudest moment of your life? Now, for those of you who have children, maybe it's giving birth to your children. Maybe it's seeing your children graduate from high school or college. Maybe it's you're graduating from high school or college. Maybe it's you starting your business. Maybe it's you battling back from some sort of traumatic event that was your proudest moment, because again, that helps you to understand what you can achieve as well as what's most important to you. Because sometimes it's so hard to figure out what's important to us. Hi, Glenn. Thank you for joining me. It's so hard because we hear all this other stuff, this other noise, and it's like what's important to other people. But is that what's important to you? So again, we're trying to figure out what your strengths are so that you know how to develop your action plan for you, because it's an individualized plan. Next thing, you got to find your niche. I was doing an interview recently, and I was talking about individuals who had been very important to me. And I was thinking about a dean when I was at UNC, Dr. Donnella Crosland. And the reason she stood out to me is because she said to me years ago, you got to find your niche. And I had a cousin who was at UNC at the same time that I was there. And he's brilliant. He's brilliant. And he's like 2 or 3 years older than me. And he grew up in Germany. He's German. His family still lives in Germany. But he came to the States for his education. And he is brilliant. And I remember when I went to UNC from a small town. So we're coming from 2 different places. But I knew my cousin because he would come home. His parents would come to the United States. And so I met him many moons before we both ended up at UNC. But my cousin was very involved in campus politics. Yeah, so he was just well-known, brilliant. Well, here I am, this newbie, trying to figure out what's my strengths, what's my path, what am I going to do? And of course, Dr. Crosby, she knew my cousin, and she said to me, find your niche. Find your niche. So in other words, what is it that you're good at? What's your strength? And once you find your strength, you then hold on to it. You're not swayed by what anybody else is doing because it's not a competition. Now, some people think it's a competition, but they're competing with themselves because my niche is my niche. Other people can do it, but it's my niche. I'm reminded of the mortician at home, and I'm going to probably get his saying, his slogan wrong. Let me think about it. Often imitated, never duplicated. So your niche is your niche. People can duplicate. They can imitate you, but they can't duplicate who you are because it's something that's innate. And that's the reason why you have to figure out what your niche is. Well, I found my niche. My cousin already knew his niche, and he's a world-renowned professor. So again, finding your lane, let me use a different language, finding your lane and staying in your lane. Again, embracing your individuality. It's your path to standing out. It's your path to success. I'm also reminded of a couple people in the Bible. There's Elijah and Elijah. And I'm not going to try to tell them apart with the pronunciation of the name. But the one that chose to follow after the mentor, who wanted a double portion of what his mentor had, and he got it. But the reason I bring him up is he understood his niche. He understood where he was supposed to go. He understood his path. And so he stayed on his path. The question is, can we stay on our path? Or are we going to be swayed by the wind blowing? The next thing we've got to do when we start looking at our strengths is acknowledging what has worked before. Sometimes success leaves clues. It's like breadcrumbs. And it's like, why did it work before? Now, that's when we have to do some work because, we know it worked, but do we know why it worked? That's when you have to reflect and dissect what occurred to determine why it worked. Because again, it's those clues that then provide the knowledge that helps our future endeavors or our future goals. So we have to do some work here. Then we've got to tailor our strengths to suit our current goal. Now, what does that mean? Not all strengths are equally applicable in every situation. So let me say it a different way. I'm a really good long distance runner. You know, I'm making this up as I speak because I don't run long distance. But say I'm a really good long distance runner. That's a great skill to have, and it's a talent. But how does that help me when I have to sit down and write a paper, 7 to 10 page paper? How does that help me? Now I can brainstorm and make it work, but do you see how that's a great skill? Now perhaps it's the ability to focus. Perhaps it's the ability to I see Maswell is storytelling. That's his skill. Thank you, Glenn. Maybe it's being able to focus, to work a muscle, because remember, our brain is a muscle. So maybe that's what we could extract from that. But again, just at first glance, it's like, well, how does this strength help me with writing my paper? Again, that's why we have to do a little work. Everything is just not right up in our face, even though most of life is not. Everything is not. We have to do some work to determine why a particular strength should be used or why one should not be used. The next thing we've got to look at is, what's your unique contribution? Your blend of skills, experiences, and perspective is your secret weapon. Now, Maswell just said his was to he's a storyteller. But then also I'm looking at what he's writing. He has the ability to cancel white noise. Now, that's a really good skill. Hi, Maurice. Thanks for joining me. That's a really good skill, because white noise, all these things that are happening around us, they throw us off our game. It's a distraction. And the ability to cancel out that white noise is a real skill that could be used in basically everything. Because it could be used if I'm a long distance runner. It could be used if I'm reading, used if I'm writing, used if I'm cooking, used if I'm driving. It can be used in about everything, certainly on the job when you're supposed to be listening. And it's like some people making all these other side conversations, or the emails are going off, Teams going off. Again, to be able to just focus on what's at hand, that's a really good skill. So again, what's your unique contribution? What is it, the blend of skills and experiences, that is your secret weapon? Because again, everybody has one, because it's your strengths, and that is your secret weapon. Now, let's pause and reflect on this for just a moment, because we said a whole lot of things here. How can you leverage your strength to set powerful expectations for your future or for your life? Because that's what it's all about, the SOAR model. We're talking about strengths tonight, but how can you use your strengths? How can you harness your strengths to then set the direction for your life to achieve your goals? Well, we got some takeaways. So I want you to focus on the takeaways. One, you got to set clear expectations. Define your goals and how you're going to achieve them. It doesn't matter how Maswell or Glenn or Maurice are going to achieve their goal. It's about how you're going to achieve your goals. Because remember, we're working from a strength perspective, and it's the strengths of the individual. So how are you going to achieve your goals? The other thing is, you've got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. You define your goals and then you plan to achieve them. Maurice, I was looking at your daughter's Facebook page, and she had a goal. And she worked her plan and she achieved her goal. And she was unveiling her goal, I think it was just last week, how she managed to lose the weight, going to the gym, her eating. Again, it was about believing in herself and then putting her goal in front of her and then putting the action plan in place and working the plan. Again, it's about believing in yourself. No one else can make that happen. You have to have it on the inside that then spreads throughout your body. And then live with purpose. Focus on what truly matters to you. I think sometimes the hardest thing for us as human beings is to really focus on what's important to us, because sometimes people are telling us what should be most important. But Is that most important to you, or is it most important to them? You got to figure out what's most important to you. And if you're the only person on that island, but that's what's most important to you, you don't leave the island just because nobody else is there. Perhaps you are the trailblazer, and you're developing a path for other people to come behind you. Don't give up just because nobody else believes in your purpose or thinks that that's something that should be. The next thing is embrace change. Now, when I said don't leave your island, obviously I'm talking about you got to embrace that. You're living on purpose, but also you got to embrace change. You know, you may have had a whole crowd behind you at one point. Maybe you have no one now. Embrace the change. Perhaps those people were never with you and they were there to push you to where you were going, but you didn't understand it at that time. So again, use the power of expectation to overcome obstacles, because everybody has obstacles. Embrace the change, overcome the obstacle, learn the lesson. We got to do that, because if not, we stay stagnant. Next, stay persistent. We don't want to be stagnant. Stay persistent. Don't let setbacks deter you. Keep moving forward. Keep pushing forward. You have to. You got to believe in yourself. Even if no one else believes in you, believe in yourself. Keep pushing forward. You are enough. You matter. You are worthy. You are worth it. Don't give it up just because nobody else thinks it. You've got to believe it. And again, it's here, and then we've got to put our hands to work. We got to move. We got to do something, because it doesn't just happen. So now, you know, my book is Transformation, the Bounce Back. So I'm all about transformation. So this is where the transformation now begins to take place. I challenge you to take action. Take action, even if it's a baby step. Even if we have to crawl before we can even take a baby step, that's okay. You're still taking action. Take the action. Answer the SOAR questions. Answer them today. Discover your strengths. Set powerful expectations for your life. No one else's life, for your life, because your life is the most important life. And declare it to the universe or to whomever you believe in. Declare it. You can manifest it. I was with someone last week and they used the term manifest, and we don't usually talk about manifest, but I thought it was interesting that they used that term, because they've manifested so many great things in the last, I'm going to say 4 months. In the last 4 months, they got a new job. They got a new car. They've manifested so many things. And so when I think about this person, she knows what her strengths are. She knows how to make a plan. She knows how to focus. And when she puts her mind to something, it happens. But just as she does that, we can do it. You can do it. But it means that you have to accept the challenge. You got to figure out what your strengths are. Okay? I will include the questions in the comment section of this live so that you have them, because I want you to do the work, because I want you to become the best version of yourself. So please leave any thoughts or comments, and thank you guys for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it. And I will leave the questions in the comment section. And I want you to remember this. The sky is not the limit. Your expectations are. So dream big and achieve even bigger. Your life is in your hands, and your expectations are the wind beneath your wings. So fly high. So fly as high as you want to, because you have the power in your hand. And remember, in order to fly, that is, before you take care of anybody else, make sure you take care of yourself first. Again, thank you for joining me. Bye now.